What's up? It's your girl, MsDevotedTiff. This is my YouTube channel. I am here tonight to review Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 5, Episode 6, The Text Heard Round the Lake House. And if you saw the episode, it's a doozy. If you didn't see it, I'll make you feel like you did. I'm here tonight as myself. I wanted you to meet me, the creator of this channel, the creator of the content on this channel, and the creator of the Chime chicks. Those are the ladies that you will see representing my content and doing the reviews. That is Turned Up Tasha, Low Key Lisa, and Artsy Alicia. But I am all of them. I like having a little fun. I am a creative, and the personalities of those three characters I feel like resonate with everyone in one way or another. And so it's also my way to get out the different viewpoints I have because they're all a little bit of exaggeration of myself. And some of you have never met me and are like, are these girls for real? No, they're not for real. They are exaggerated characters. So now you know. So when you're trying to come for me in the comments, you know those aren't real people. The other reason that I wanted to come on as myself tonight is I wanted to address a little bit further a tweet that I made last week. I did not review last week because it was all about Chadwick Boseman as far as anything that I was posting, but I did watch because I am a fan of the show, and I did tweet about the show. And my tweet got retweeted by Dr. Wendy, the newest member of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And it was a little controversial tweet, a lot of back and forth under the tweet. I wanted to come on here and personally address. I want to make it clear, I am not saying that any of the ladies on the cast are colorists. I do feel that a lot of women that are fair-skinned, without even realizing it, maybe have a negative bias, or it's just a subconscious thing and they're not realizing that they're doing it. I notice patterns, and I gotta call it like I see it. And the same behavior I saw from the lighter-skinned women on Basketball Wives are the same things that I saw this past episode. Not to say that an apology wasn't owed to Ashley. Not to say that Dr. Osifo was not wrong, or couldn't have handled anything a little bit better, as she copped to tonight. But they were labeling her as aggressive and all of these things, and holding her up to a standard that they don't even hold themselves up to. I have seen these ladies do some really aggressive things, and I've never heard them label that to each other. They're always like, oh, she's a trip, or you know, that's how she is, or she's messy, or she's petty, but then they never have used the words ferocious, aggressive, look at her pointing her fingers. And they've only ever went there and acted like somebody was acting over the top or too much in that type of energy when it came to Candiace and when it came to Wendy. So yeah, I stand by that statement. And just because you didn't see it, sorry, I had to call it how I see it. Also, I think it's important to say that if you're going to call somebody out in that type of way, you need to also own your own behavior. And a perfect example was tonight when Karen was saying, you know, and all the time in this group in these 5 years, I haven't called anybody a B word. And then, of course, Bravo, the receipt dropping they showed that she had done that 2 years ago. And that's kind of what I'm saying, like, there's not a lens on themselves, and it's like, oh, we never do that. We never go that far. We never take it that far. She's taking it too far. When, in fact, they do. It's the same behavior that you see from some white women. They're like, oh, we never do that, or we never get loud in restaurants and blah, blah, blah. But they do. And so I just wanted to come on here as me, MsDevotedTiff, not as any of the Chime chicks, and set the record straight on what I meant by that. So now that that is done, let's get into this episode. And I got my notes because it was a lot to have. I have a lot to say. So the first scene continues with the end of the last scene, the dinner, and it's Wendy versus the girls. My thing is, I think that they were upset how well she was able to hold her own. And usually, you know, if all of them are trying to gang up, just like they were trying to do with Candiace at the beginning of this season and force her into an apology, they were trying to do that same force into an apology tactic. And basically, she wasn't having it. And so then they wanted to say, oh, you know, you don't think you owe her an apology and all of that. And the main thing I also wanted to point out is it wasn't even actually saying, oh, well, you know, she's mad because my baby was there and hers wasn't. I'm going through all these things. I need my baby there. And maybe it has been a hard process for her. I don't want to take that away from her. But we cannot ignore the fact that in the last episode, one of the bigger reasons that she was taking the baby there is because Michael was like, you need to take the baby. That's your responsibility. Baby needs to be with you at this age. And she wasn't telling him all of that part. She was just like, oh, I want to be near my baby. I do think that if Michael wasn't as forceful about it, that she maybe would have considered leaving the baby behind and with the babysitter. So she didn't even, you know, talking about people being phony, keeping it real. She didn't in that moment. She didn't like, you know, when Michael's like, I need to take this baby with me. Can I bring the baby? She tried to make it all about her wanting to be with the baby. So I didn't respect that. I didn't appreciate that. Then it goes on to talk about, so then the meal is over. Everybody's going to their separate rooms. And Candiace and Wendy are in the room together. And it was so funny to me that Candiace was actually having a moment trying to tell somebody, you know, that they're being a little intense, doing a little too much. And I saw it more, not so that she didn't agree with Wendy and what Wendy had to say or even how Wendy handled it. I think she was trying to tell her, you know, if you want to be friends with these girls, you're kind of going to have to be a little more extra sweet because they can't handle the real and the raw. And in order to kind of get on their good side, almost like you're going to have to learn how to play the game a little bit. That's what I took away from that conversation. And I guess it's like give a little, get a little. If you want to, you know, be on the show and not be iced out, you can't give them too much because they kind of can't take it. So just dial it back a little bit so that you can continue to, you know, have this platform. That's what I feel like she was saying. Then we go to Giselle, and she's talking about how she and Monique are in such a great place now. And I always have to roll my eyes because all the time that she is saying this, she is dogging her out still in the interviews as far as spilling the tea about the rumor with the trainer, stuff that the viewing audience didn't know. It hadn't been said by anyone else on camera at this point. And so Giselle is dropping that tea to us, but she's trying to act like she's super buddy-buddy close with Monique now. They're at breakfast talking about who has the best pancakes and give a little tease towards the rumor that Candiace is going to find out, goes to commercial, comes back. There's a pancake competition. I was interested to see with Wendy after the night before, how are they going to act? Were they going to be nice towards her during the next day? And interestingly enough, most of the shade was coming from, no surprise, Ashley, but also from Robin. And I was like, did she just go out with this girl and her kids? She has not done anything to Robin. So why is Robin kind of, you know, being rude to her, mocking her like, okay, you know, you gonna do this calculation? Well, how you gonna do them? Okay, good luck with the PhD. Hope it helps you with that. I'm like, Robin, why are you doing all that? But Robin is a little flip-floppy, so I shouldn't have been too surprised. So that was a little cute moment of the breakfast competition. It was Monique versus Giselle. And what ended up happening was Giselle had the best tasting pancakes with the worst presentation, and Monique had the best looking pancakes with the worst of the two tastes. And Candiace gave a metaphor which I thought was super on point. She was like, this judging of the pancakes is a lot like their personalities. You know, Giselle, you know, she maybe look a little messy. She may be a little messy, a little shady on the outside, but, you know, she's good on the inside. And Monique may have a beautiful presentation on the outside, but she's not so decent on the inside. And I was like, ee, but. So that was that. Chris calls, Monique's Chris calls, and everybody's talking to the different families, but we go to them first, and he's basically saying that, you know, he's supposed to grill because the guys are coming the next day, but he thinks he should just get it catered. So she wasn't really feeling that. She was like, you know, I feel I'm gonna have to not pick my battle with that one. Just gonna let that ball go. I'm just gonna hang on to that. And then she compared it to her situation with Candiace, and like I'm also hanging on to that. She's like, but eventually one of these balls are gonna drop. I feel like though with Monique, and of course as a wife, money is not the solution to everything, but he seems like he's a super supportive and ride for her, down for her husband, and I don't know. I feel like she's complaining a little too much about him. Of course, there are probably some things that we don't see, but how she's like complaining that, oh well, it's my birthday, I wanted the food grilled, not catered, or he's saying, you know, if you feel stressed, hire who you need, get whatever you need. I want you to be good, but she wants him to initiate the hiring. It's like, if he is not saying to you, well, no, don't, it needs to be you taking care of the kids all the time, or no, we're not going to spend any money on that, we don't need that. And he's like supporting you and saying, whatever you need to be good, however much it costs, do that. Why would you like take issue with that? No, I want you to be the one. So I don't know how I feel about that. So then we go to Wendy and Giselle, and they go for a walk. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool that Giselle is still saying, you know, I like her or whatever. And she tries to dig a little deeper, like, why were you so upset the night before? And again, Wendy explains, basically, it was a lot for me to leave my child. My child's a preemie. I'm a new mom too, because I'm a mom to a new baby. And didn't appreciate, you know, people acting like it wasn't a big deal and being dismissive about that just because I have other children. And she was like, oh, so that's where that's coming from. And then she was like, but I don't feel like your energy should have been going towards Ashley. It should have been going towards Karen. And I was like, oh, there we go. That's the real reason Giselle took her outside, because she wanted to do some more pot stirring and instigate, because she is the queen instigator. And so she was like, yeah, because Karen has been having some not so nice things to say about you. When her and Karen had kind of already squashed it the night before, because Karen calls her out about having her questions and suspicions about her sex life. And she was like, you know, we need to get to know me before you're trying to get to know what's happening in my pants. She's like, fine, let's go to dinner, let's go to lunch, done. So that situation was deaded, for now at least, besides the little light shade. And so for her to come back and like, well, she's been saying this and this, and it's like, oh, Wendy, please don't fall for Giselle's pot stirring. But she was like, what? She said this, she said that. She said I'm a, you know, a slutty freelancer. What did she say? And then she started dropping that resume. And Giselle's like, I don't need your resume, but, you know, you might want to let Karen know, because she seems unclear about, you know, your freelancing. So that was that. Then they all go to the activity for the day, which is fishing, canoeing. Seems to have a little calm while everybody seems to be bonding. And then she meets with Ashley. Wendy meets with Ashley, sitting out, you know, getting ready to fish. And she was like, you know, it wasn't cool to call you out of your name, you know, and it wasn't cool how, you know, my delivery. And so then Ashley was like, is that an apology? And so she paused for a second. I feel like Ashley didn't even give her a chance to get to the apology part. Like, she was setting it up. And so when Ashley was like, is that it? Come on, snake skin. Because she was wearing, I guess, a snake skin pattern. And she's like, okay, well, I'll lead it off. And so then Ashley apologized to her for continuing the bad energy. And so then she's like, thank you for leading off the apology, Ashley. I apologize to you too. So, you know, they were pretty much good after that. And I think that goes to show, like, it was no need to call her like an aggressive person. Like, she had a moment and they tried to gang up on her because, you know, either because she's new or because she's dark or because of whatever. Subconsciously or subconsciously, like I said before. But they should have had the opportunity to work it out without that cloud of like labeling her. But I'm glad that they got there. And so Giselle's trying to, in the next scene, Giselle's trying to reach her family, has no service. Ashley has perfect service, but also in the scene where she's FaceTiming, she kind of puts him down, puts the phone down, talking to Michael to tend to the baby. She's like, sorry, Michael. And then it goes to the producers asking her in the interview room, how does Michael feel being second? Which I feel like was such a shady question. But Ashley didn't deny it. She's like, oh, he hates it. And so then we go to Karen and Ray, and it's painful to watch at this point. Even though I feel like Sharon's been a little shady somewhat, it's still like I like Karen. And so I feel bad to see her like trying to fish for affection from Ray, and Ray is not here for it. But I will say he's always seemed so ride or die for her. I can't say I totally believe he's giving her this aloof energy because now that she has the makeup brand. I feel like maybe she's neglecting him, and so this is his response to that. Like, don't get in my face now, either because the camera's about rolling or because now you feel like you want to give me attention. And I don't know if there's any truth to the rumors about her, like, flirting or having, you know, blurred line relationships with, you know, other gentlemen. But I do think it's more than just Ray is anti her being extra busy. So we'll probably never know because she doesn't really, you know, keep it real when it comes to that. She wants to act like it's fine. Then we go to the girls, basically, this montage of them feeling like they're being kidnapped because the trip is dull. She ordered pizza. They're kind of just sitting there in silence, eating and chewing this pizza. And it goes to the different girls in the interview rooms saying, you know, how they feel like they've been kidnapped, how they feel like, you know, I'm ready to go home. I'm not stir crazy yet. I don't have cabin fever yet, but I'm close. And so that was kind of funny because they really juiced up the editing on that part. But hey, you know, what can I say? Maybe Monique isn't the hostess with the mostest like she thinks because her guests are bored. So finally, Giselle steps in and she's like, okay, well, let's do a pageant competition with the two pageant girls. And so that brought a little bit of entertainment. They had the categories of like the walk, the pageant walk, and then they had the question and answer, and then they had the talents. And so the walk, I felt like Candiace won. And then the talent actually twerked, and Candiace sung, of course, and she sung Happy Birthday again. And of course, Bravo shows all the time, so she's already sung Happy Birthday. And then the question was, the question to Candiace was, how does it feel being so short? And she said she would be an advocate for short girls, let them know they still, you know, have power. And then the question to Ashley was about her big forehead, and she basically was like, well, in lots of tribes, a bigger forehead is seen as knowledge. Candiace ended up winning the pageant. And it kind of makes sense because I think Ashley was only Miss DC and Candiace won Miss United States. So that was that scene. Then she's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get ready for dinner. They're all getting ready for dinner, and then Candiace gets the text. The text that is the name of the title of this episode. And they show right up on the camera. They zoom the camera right up on the text message. And basically her friend is like, yo, I was up here seeing my friend, you know, at the strip club. She's up here tonight, and she basically let me know she saw your girl's husband, and then she sent a screenshot of him obviously sitting in a dark place with like a blue low lighting, with blue mood lighting, and it was clear that it was Michael Darby. And she goes and comes back, and I guess the rest of the text messages were saying that he was saying he has a wife and a boyfriend, and that he was asking if anybody wanted to go to, you know, a hotel with him. So, interestingly enough, she is freaking out because she's like, you know, Ashley and I just got back on decent terms, and this information had to come to me. But she goes to, of all people, to find out what she should do with the information, she goes to Giselle. I think maybe she went to Giselle because she knew Giselle may tell. But, of course, she goes to Giselle, and Giselle's like, read it out word for word. Giselle was going to make sure that the cameras knew what it said. She didn't take it and read it to make sure it could stay private. Giselle was like, read it out loud. Ooh, that Giselle. And so she was like, well, you guys are friends again. And she's like, yeah. She's like, that's why I don't know what to do. Like, it can't be me being the one to tell her. but I can't not tell her. And so Giselle was like, you have to tell her, and you have to tell her tonight. So they go to dinner. Of course, there are only black people there. Overdressed, so everybody's staring at them. They get to the table and they start having a conversation about checking in on their lives and on their husbands and everything. Monique, of course, is complaining again about Chris. And Robin says that she can relate because the athletes are used to people catering to them, so sometimes it's hard for them to cater. And so her conclusion was, as long as y'all are making enough money for these staffing, Chris may never step up, you know, to take the reins for you. He's just always going to push you to have somebody to take care of it and have you keep taking care of him. And then they asked the Grand Dame about how, well, to be clear, messy, shady Giselle asked the Grand Dame, is Ray missing you? And so she was like, yeah, he said he misses me, but I think he's just more so enjoying life, taking it one day at a time. Like, this real finessed, untrue answer, because we done heard her ask him if he misses her, and he did not confirm that he did. He just started talking about other stuff like golf and such. So that was that. Oh, Wendy had also shared to the rest of the girls that she had apologized. And then they talked about the crabs, and apparently Ashley's mom told her that the yellow, what do you call it, the dead man, or the yellow stuff in the crab, that it's like natural mustard, but it's actually poop. And so then they asked her about how is Michael doing with her not being there. And she says, yeah, he has some business people in town. They're at the MGM. He's entertaining them. And that's when Giselle and Candiace start making faces at each other because, you know, they know what's up clearly at this point. And so the scene ends with Candiace saying, Ashley? And so I guess she's about to tell her. And that's the episode. Building us up for next week when the men come. And it shows us in the teaser that Ashley is going to confront Michael. And he's going to say that some of that isn't true, but something did happen. So that is my review. Interesting episode. Real Housewives of Potomac is delivering again this season. Let me know your thoughts if you agree or disagree, from everything to the colorism conversation, to Monique and Chris, to if Wendy was out of line, and everything in between. This is MsDevotedTiff, and next time you will see the Chime In chicks. Those divas I have created ready to chime in. Bye.